Hi friends, it's me Lucy. Welcome back. Today is Good Friday. I've always thought that was a strange name for the day that Jesus died on the cross. A lot of terrible things happened that day. But in the end, what Jesus accomplished on the cross was a good thing for all of us. He paid the penalty for our sins so that we could have a relationship with Him and live with Him forever. That's a very good thing. But it is also important to remember that Jesus suffered for our sake that Good Friday so many years ago. Today, Pastor Steve and Mr. Wallace are back to talk about part of the story that we sometimes overlook. Let's hear what they have to say. Here's your Passion Week podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Lucy. I've been having a great time this week, haven't you, Pastor Steve?
I have. Mr. Wallace, have you had a chance to hang out with the sheep?
I tried my very best to shepherd them all into a flock of my own, but the people over here said no, they're theirs. So I had to listen to them.
Well, Mr. Wallace, today we're going to talk about a very special event that took place, something that often gets overlooked when we're talking about the last week of Jesus.
And what's that?
A man by the name of Simon.
Oh.
Not Simon Peter,
Oh.
but Simon, the man from Cyrene. Have you heard about him?
I have, actually. Isn't he the one that actually took Jesus' cross by command?
That's correct. You see, you remember what happened was Jesus had already been whipped and beaten, and he was made to carry his cross down the road all the way to Golgotha. And Jesus was hurt and tired. And as he was carrying his cross, he was having trouble. And all of a sudden, this Roman soldier, he looks into the crowd and he sees this man, Simon. And he says, "Hey, Simon, you come and carry this cross for Jesus." Now, the Bible tells us that Simon was there with his family and he had 2 sons. And he was probably there to celebrate the feast of the Passover. And all of a sudden, here he is being called from the crowd to carry the cross of Jesus. What do you think was going through Simon's mind at this point, Mr. Wallace?
Well, I'm sure he was probably thinking, why me? Why, of all the people that are here, why am I chosen? But at the very same time, he could probably be saying that, well, I didn't do anything wrong. And then he could probably look at the eyes of Jesus and say, but neither did he.
Yeah. Can you imagine that moment when Simon was called out and he picked up that cross right next to Jesus? And like you said, Simon had done nothing to deserve this, but neither did Jesus. And here they are both carrying this cross. And Simon, his heart may have changed a little bit standing there next to Jesus, realizing everything that Jesus was going through for no reason, huh, Mr. Wallace?
Absolutely. A close encounter like that with Jesus can change anybody's life.
Yeah, and I think Simon's life was changed because of that. Because we hear in the Bible later on about his sons and how they were important leaders in the church and how they were on fire for Christ, all because of that one moment when he was called to carry the cross of Jesus.
He was a great example to his sons.
Yeah, and a great example to all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what an amazing man Simon was. And maybe for us, we don't understand some of the things that we're called to do, but yet God has a purpose and a plan in those too, huh, Mr. Wallace?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Well, boys and girls, I hope you're enjoying this week, and I hope you're learning so much inside of your classrooms. And I know we're not done yet, and so stay tuned for some more of our podcasts so you can hear more about the life of Jesus.
Thanks, guys. If I were Simon, I would have been pretty scared to be involved with all that. When I think of how much Jesus suffered so that I could have a relationship with him, it makes me realize just how much he loves me. And it makes me love him more too. And the best thing about Good Friday is that the story doesn't end there. Easter is only a couple of days away, and you know what happened then. We have one more podcast coming on Sunday. You don't want to miss it. Bye, friends!